What's going on, ambitious vets? Welcome to episode number 4 of the Ambitious Vet with creative thought leader and handmade leather maker Donald Dodson. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet. I'm your host, Chris Hoffman, former Marine combat veteran turned passion-driven entrepreneur. We're here to dig into the trenches with today's top-performing military veterans that were once warrior-made but are now passion-driven, thus unlocking the new insights and secret formulas for you to live a more meaningful, fulfilling, and passion-driven life. All right, ambitious vets. Now, really, are you guys really wanting to continue that brotherhood, that sisterhood out of the uniform? The biggest complaint that I hear from a lot of veterans that are getting out of the uniform is, oh gosh, now the brotherhood's gone. Oh God, the sisterhood's gone. Well, it doesn't have to be. Okay, and also, are you an ambitious vet out there just seeking the resources, the insights, the strategies on how not to struggle out of the uniform, not to survive, but actually thrive out of the uniform? Well, guys, the answer is our Facebook tribe. We have a Facebook tribe out there called Veteran Empowerment Transition, where we have hundreds of ambitious vets just like you inside that tribe, sharing insights, sharing resources, and sharing strategies on how to live that top performing civilian life. We'll catch you there. What's going on, ambitious vets? So before we go ahead and introduce the guests and get right into the interview today, I want to let you guys know, for those of you guys that are not inside of our Veteran Empowerment Transition Tribe, we do this pre-recorded Facebook Live right there every Saturday from 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 12:30. Now that will be changing in April. Okay, we're going to be doing it on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But guys, what you're going to hear is live engagement with our guest and people that are watching us live. Now I'm going to try this out for a couple episodes. If you guys don't like it, just let us know. We'll go ahead and edit that out. We want to make sure that the audio is just really the audio that you guys want to be listening to. If it's too much for you guys, let us know. We'll go ahead and edit that out. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce the creative mind and the handmade leather maker, Donald Dodson. Now, Donald Dodson is a 20-year Army combat veteran reservist who has done it all, from teaching social studies after his last tour in Iraq back in 2005 to being in the graphic arts and web design industry. Now, being a lifelong artisan who loves sharing his passion with others led him to the launch of Dodson Designs in 2016, where he crafts fine handmade leather goods with a creative flair, is kind of what he likes to call it. Now, his passion lies in creating something that is not only artistic, interesting, and creative, but also has an inherent practical use to his client. So let's go ahead and dive in to the trenches with Donald, shall we? All right, Donald, you there, brother?
I am.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, welcome to the Ambitious Vet Show, brother.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. This is awesome. I'm glad I could help.
We're happy to have you, man. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and fill the gaps from that introduction. Tell us something a little bit about your personal life, or share any gap that you heard in that bio.
So 20 years in the military. I actually joined when I was in high school. They had this program way back in the day called the Deployed Entry or Split Option. So actually, I was a high school junior when I joined the Army in 1984. I did my basic training, and then I went back to high school for a year, and then I did my advanced training after I graduated. So that was kind of bizarre, and it made for a really bad senior picture. So I was reserves for a good part of that time, but I kept getting deployed. So Desert Storm, I was in Kosovo, the Balkans, and then I was in Iraq. So I wasn't active the whole time, just so we're clear. But I did a lot of different things in the military. I was a mechanic, I was an engineer, chem warfare, and then public affairs was my last thing before Iraq. So
Wow. Yeah, you've done a lot of stuff, man. So you've been in and out of the uniform, all that. Can you tell us briefly a little bit about your transition story back
into the civilian world?
Well, I mean, as a reservist, you're like doing this monthly. So sometimes it's a little different, but I'll speak more towards the end because that's where I can really understand and kind of equate to what a lot of veterans are facing today. Because, you know, when you go to something like a combat situation, it's not like a deployment where you're going to I don't know, Guam for 6 months or something like that. So the biggest thing that I found, I mean, you get out, there's all these things, classes they want you to take, there's a lot more now than there used to be. But honestly, you just want to get out of there. You've probably made that decision and you're just so done. Don't do that. Take all those things, get the physical, do all the stuff. But it's really hard to find a sense of purpose because that's what we have in the military. I mean, face it, we're saddled or given a huge amount of responsibility. I was a motor sergeant, so I had like $20 million worth of equipment I was responsible for, a bunch of men, you know, how all of a sudden I'm just some dude, you know, in an airport like every other person. And so you really need to find that sense of fulfillment, belonging, principle, reason, something like that. So, and that's why I went into teaching, because I felt I could really equate to what, you know, give back, to do something, because what I was doing could influence other people and could make a difference. So that was kind of what I latched on and had previously in my other careers. Even though I was a graphic designer, I was a graphic designer for a nonprofit. So I really liked that kind of notion. I think as veterans, we like to make a change or do something of value. And we want to find something, some position or something that will do that for us. It could be a club or something. I found I was in a martial arts club for a long time, and that helped give me that sense of military family. So, and then I'm here.
Awesome. Well, brother, we're happy you're here. So cool, man. So, I mean, throughout that transition, it sounds like you dove right into what you thought would provide as much value to the civilian world, which is becoming a teacher, right? So how would you describe, are you familiar with the term like hard and soft skills?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm sure. Being a teacher, I'm sure you do. So yeah, getting out, you know, being a teacher, you know, you're developing a lot of soft skills around like just your inherited, you know, providing value, being able to teach non-tangible techniques to students, and actually just being able to allow them to create hard skills out in the life, which develops their skill sets. Do you think you developed that in the uniform?
Yeah. I mean, a huge part of the military is about working hard. Right. It's about taking things seriously, following attention to detail, following directions. And I'm sorry, but you know, you hear a lot of people complaining about adulting, and it's like, nah, if you work hard, follow the directions, you pretty much can succeed okay in life. Crap is going to happen to you, but you know, you'll be better prepared, you know, because that's the other thing we learned in the military is that we can do way more than what we realize we can, you know? I mean, we think all of a sudden that, you know, oh my God, we were given all these challenges and they were pretty daunting at times. And then we got through them and we realized it's not as hard as we make it out to be sometimes. So I tried to pass that on to the students. I tried to give them the values of working hard, showing up on time, you know, and just generally understanding that, you know, you got to know the rules so you can break them. But understand that life is a big game in a system and you need to know how to play it.
Yeah, that's good. There's a lot of golden grenades there, man. Life is a game, keeps life light, doesn't make it significant, doesn't make failure mean more than what it is, which is just an ineffective action, all that good stuff. Thanks for that, brother. There's a lot of value there. Now, digging into how did you find that distinct purpose, fulfillment out of the uniform? Was it through teaching or was it later on when you were kind of like troubleshooting with the web graphic design? Tell us about your seek to filling that fulfillment and purpose, because there's a lot of veterans that are still active, that are going to see this, that are looking to get out, and they want to feel like a superhero out of the uniform. So how did you find that meaningful life out of the uniform?
A big part of that was really just, you need to look at yourself. You need to figure out what the hell you are. Yeah. Literally, what the heck you are. I mean, what are you? We define ourselves too often by our jobs, not by what we as a human being is born to do. Okay, are you a helper? Are you a protector? Are you a creator? Are you a influencer? You gotta kind of understand what it is that motivates you, what kind of thing is going to get you to get up in the morning, and use that, and then find jobs that connect with that in some way. I mean, obviously, as a teacher, I could do a lot of those things. As a graphic artist, I could hit on my creative side, and you got to pay attention, because I kind of probably wasted some time doing some things when I should have been doing something else, because I thought I was doing what I really like to do, but in the end, it really wasn't. That goes into the mistake category that we'll talk about then, but you really got to find that passion, which obviously that's applicable on this particular platform, but passion's important. Find that thing that you like to do and do it.
Yeah.
Find the job that lets you do it, either in the job or being an entrepreneur, making it happen yourself, or there's ways you can do it outside of a job. Circumstances are such, you're not going to be able to step in and instantly be the superhero, the whatever it is you want to be, like when you're in the uniform. You may have to take a crappy warehouse job while you get your crap together. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you'll earn some money. You won't have that pressure of having to know everything. You can figure yourself out. You can go to college. You can take some of those soft or hard skills you learned in the military and sharpen those tools, so that now you can go out there and be what you're supposed to be, what you were born to be.
Love that. So much good stuff there, man. So yeah, mine was a nightclub security guard. That's what I got out and did. I just leveraged my strengths from the Marine Corps, right? And what
are you going to do?
I think there's so many guys and gals that get out of the uniform that, immediately they go from a secure income first and 15th of every single month to actually, immediately going like, well, I don't have the security, so now I got to go out and sustain a job, right? What are the skills that I have? And for a lot of us Marines that got out of the uniform, and most Army as well, they get out and they work security for a while, and they make that minimum wage job take a low end. But, the ambitious vets that are watching this are always looking for more, right? Learning how to hone those skills, figuring out their passions and stuff like that. So, Donald, do you mind digging into kind of how you dug into actually finding your passion? Like, do you have any resources, any books that you would recommend a veteran out there that's wanting to discover more about who they are, their passion?
Sure. But one thing I want to add is, you don't start out in the military as a sergeant. You don't start out as a general. You start out as an E1 or a lieutenant, and you have to start from the bottom up. Yeah. So when you're a civilian, you're going to have to start from the bottom up a little bit, and that's okay, because that'll get you in a position, and because that change you talked about is really difficult when all of a sudden you have to figure out what you got to buy clothing, for gosh sakes. So as far as resources, you really got to look at, I don't have a ton of like entrepreneurial books or things like that. There were a couple things I did in the business world that helped me. Good to Great was a good idea, is like, find the skills, find the attitude, have the right attitude, and then the job you can connect there. It doesn't necessarily equate to a resume though. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with a good education. And if you have a lot of folks come out, they have GI Bill, they have all these opportunities. There's nothing wrong with spending a semester or two in college. Even if, I don't care what people say sometimes about these professors have never done it in real life. You're not there for them. You're there for the information you're going to get. And it gives you a lot of perspective and understanding of how the world works. Now, some of us firsthand discovered how the world works, possibly at the end of a gun. All right. Or we saw it in disaster relief. But, maybe you didn't have that experience. So understanding other cultures, understanding our history, especially, really helps to then become a lot more knowing of what's around you and how things work, those systems and things like that. Any book that helps you to kind of understand you better is useful. I've not really been a big proponent at that time of the whole self-help book system, just simply because I'm a procrastinator, and I got a book on procrastination. I got past page one, and that was about it.
You procrastinated the procrastinator book.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because the next chapter said, you probably didn't do what we told you to do in the first chapter, but so, but some of those things though are helpful. Myers-Briggs, I took the tests, and it helps you kind of figure out what you're like. Certain things are important. It helps you kind of find those strengths and weaknesses. But yeah, I did. Who Moved the Cheese, believe it or not, was a pretty fun but helpful book. Very good for military guys, because if you think about it, you're all used to things being a certain way, and now all of a sudden change has happened because you're out of uniform and your cheese isn't here. You got to go buy it. You got to. So it's different.
100%, brother. Again, a lot of golden grenades there. I think one of the things I want to point out to the ambitious vet community is going to watch this is that, what Donald said around getting out of the uniform and starting as a recruit and trying to work your way back up to a sergeant rank in the civilian world, there's a gap there. Just like whenever you join the uniform, whenever you join whatever branch you join, right? So like me and Donald have talked to offline a lot because we're part of the same Warrior Council mastermind, and we work together as close friends outside of this in business, is we've talked about Erickson, the psychologist Erickson, that talks about the performance gap that separates world-class people from normal class people. There's a sense of discovery. Then there's an end goal or desire or a skill set you want to acquire or realize. And then what are the soft and hard skills that you got to develop to get there, right? So that's exactly what you're nailing the head on. Is it's like, okay, who am I? What am I good at? What are my naturally skill sets? What is the feedback loop? What are my closest friends that believe in me or telling me I'm good at? Why not try it out for a year?
Yeah.
Figure out the skill sets.
One of the reasons I became a teacher, because a lot of people, and I felt it, and I still am a teacher. I just will be teaching something different in the future. But the reality of it is, that, and what you're talking about is that zone of proximal development, at that point of uncomfortableness, but yet you're still learning, but you're not so uncomfortable that you can't do anything. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that's the reason you should take psychology in college. So, because you'll learn about that. Seriously, that's where I learned, and I understood a lot about myself, and I understood a lot about others than when I'm dealing with them. I know it's like, oh, I'm pushing him too far, or I need to push them too far. Because, you're going to come to a point where you're going to become a leader in whatever organization you're at. And those are valuable soft skills that you can develop too. But never overlook the value of understanding yourself and how you need to push it. But you got to think about what is that goal and what are the parts you need to get to that goal. It's not that complex either. It's just, there's lots of information out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the best thing that I teach over here with veterans, anybody I talk to, is learning to be resourceful. You look up the definition on Webster Dictionary of what resourcefulness means. It means having a toolbox of resources. For anybody that wants to come into your life, an influencer comes in your life, or someone that acquires your knowledge or anything, having a resource immediately makes you more valuable to the marketplace. So whatever your desired goal is, whatever profession you're trying to get into, if it's entrepreneurship, high-level executive, an athlete, whatever your heart desires, it's focusing on what are the resources I need to develop to make myself more valuable to that marketplace, give value, and you're gonna climb up the ladder. That's how life works. You start from the beginning, you work your way up. It's not meant to be easy. It's good, man.
And understanding how the civilians are going to necessarily think a little differently. That's something I think veterans should have a how to work with civilians class when they get out of the military. Maybe they do. So that they can understand that, like, they're not going to jump to like you're used to. And you may have been a first sergeant, but you ain't a first sergeant out there. And It's just a different thing, to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Well, thanks for those golden grenades, man. We're going to continue to move on. Now I want to kind of get into your heart a little bit, brother. I want you to talk with passion about what was your biggest failure whenever you got out of the uniform. What did you learn from it as you were pursuing what you wanted?
and this will sound a little bit hypocritical, but when you're looking at your end goal, don't sacrifice your goal for safety. So as much as, right out of the bat, you need a good job or a job to just sustain you till you figure yourself out. But when you get to that point where you're starting to figure yourself out and figure out what career you want to do, don't forego the goal for the safe. Okay. Don't pick the easy thing or the thing that you think is right when what you feel inside, which your intuition, as Stephen Kuhn will always talk about, okay, is telling you need to do. Okay. Do not disregard whatever it is that you're passionate about. So I took a job as a printing press operator. Basically, I'm running a machine. In other words, I'm a slave to the machine. And I'm thinking, this is awesome. I can sit here and think about all the cool stuff I'm going to do and make. And because I'm a creative guy, so I'm always liking to make stuff. Well, in the end, I lost a lot of that because honestly, I was, focused on doing that. And I was spending no time in developing myself as a creative person. I should have found a job where I could express that. So make sure that was a failure for me, is because I kept trying to find so emphatic, so driven to just find a job that was going to pay that I sacrificed a little of, well, what am I working for? So that's a balancing act. Okay. Until you get to maybe a higher level or a career level thing is balancing the safety and security you need to survive as a human being in the outside world with what are you passionate about. Some folks just work their butts off after they get home, like you do, okay, to do that. Some folks can find a 9-to-5 that connects with what they love to do. And then some folks find something else like a club or an activity or a cause that they can fight for. And then some people, they get there, they get those tools together and they make that step and then they go out and do it themselves as an entrepreneur. Yeah. But, I hear a lot of people complain about, I'm a warehouse guy. This job sucks. They're like, what are you doing to change that situation?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I don't let anybody complain around me at all. I'm like, what are you doing about that circumstance? Okay. I don't listen to people's reasons, excuses, or circumstances. I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do about it? Especially if they're a vet. I'm like, hey, you're mission oriented, right? What are you gonna do about it? Okay. You are not a victim, my man. You are a warrior. But anyways, a lot of good stuff there, brother. I think the biggest thing I got from what you just shared, and just kind of sum it up, to maybe this has sparked some insight for people that are gonna be watching this, is that you've shared this twice now. When you got a lot of veterans get out of the uniform, they are seeking to survive. Like they just try to find that stability. Some of them don't. Like me, my first 5 years I was out of uniform, I had 5 different careers. Sales guy at 24 Hour Fitness, nightclub security guard, did private security for a little bit, went door to door knocking, selling vacuums and all this kind of stuff, right? Just to figure out surviving. And I happened to find that sales and marketing became my thing that I'm passionate about, psychology, persuading behavior. And I kind of just invested more money into that, into myself and my self-awareness. But it's like, okay, how do I find stability, but also seek self-actualization, professional actualization on a higher level, create stability, and then develop myself into what is I'm passionate about? Is it a higher end job, more pay, or what are the intangibles? What is going to make me feel fulfilled? Having 100,000 veterans become top performers, high-end executives of major corporations? Hell yeah. That's my biggest thing, is how do we help veterans be leaders in organizations outside the military, because we know how to perform at high levels and at high standards. So thanks for all the wisdom, the passion, brother. Now, I want to kind of switch gears, man. We've been sharing a lot about you, your story, your why, and what brought you to this time. Now, tell us about, Dodson Designs, man. What inspired this idea? Going from, Army to social studies teacher to graphic design. What inspired Dodson Design, brother?
Well, so it kind of played out again where you're sort of listening to those people close to you. I started making leather stuff as a hobby. And I always been in the art field. I actually started college with an art degree, or starting an art degree. I actually never got an art degree. I got a social studies teacher degree, but I started as an artist because the career that I was in, the graphic design, that's what they wanted me to get. So, and I was fine with that because I loved it. So I learned a lot of skills and things, but never had ever touched leather before. So I went to a costume party and I needed to make something. And I'm like, I think I could do this in leather. That would look cool. So I did that. And I had such a response that I'm like, this is kind of fun. I should make some more stuff. So before you know it, about a year into that as basically nothing more than a hobby. And as a teacher, we don't have any time. So anytime I could, but what I was finding is I just could not wait to get home and make something out of leather, to create. Okay. Now, granted, part of that was the teaching part, that wasn't as fun. But part of that was I just so loved to make those things. It was like, that was all I looked forward to, So that was a big part of it. And then as I got more and more positive response of the things I made, all right, I was like, maybe I should start thinking about doing this for a living. And this was at 48, 49, where I decided to do this. Okay. Cause I'm 50. All right. And I was like, this is just stupid. This is like the most illogical, harebrained idea you have ever had. But there was on my other shoulder was a person, entity telling me, be happy. What does your intuition tell you should be? And I just happened to come across some article that talked about, how all these actors and famous people started when they were older and how they were successful. And I was admittedly in a position, I was in a relationship and I had some support there. She was very supportive, my wife now, of me actually stopping working and trying to do that full time. So I do have that, a lot of people may not have. So that's definitely an advantage, but when you're younger, you can sort of make that decision a little easier. But when you're 50, it's like, you have a lot more to consider. So that's really what pushed me over the edge, is that positive response from people that, hey, you could probably start really doing good with this. So last August, not this August, but last August, I essentially put in my letter telling them I would not be returning to school, and I started the business.
Nice.
Here I am, a little over a year.
Yeah. So it's good. And I mean, it's really quality leather too. Like one thing that we were talking about before we went live is one of the key quotes that you have, like literally on your Facebook page. I don't remember if it's your personal or your Facebook page, but I'm gonna read this. It says, the opposite of war is not peace, it is creation. And anytime that I'm ever around you, you're just like, yeah, man, I create things that fulfill on people and what they really want to create in life. Like you really do believe this. And like, if you go to Donald's Facebook business page, or if you go and you visit and learn more about him, you can see his keen passion for creating tangible things through leather and actually allowing people to find value and implementation through that thing that he creates. So that's awesome, brother. So I want to touch in, what does it fulfill for you whenever you're creating a product like a belt or a bag? Because I know that, we're both a part of the Vetrepreneur tribe. Andrew O'Brien's the head of that. You work your booty off. I almost said ass. I said it. On his bag. And I know you had a huge deadline on that. And what drives you to finish from beginning to end, to finish a product like that? And what fulfills you in those sessions when you're in your workshop working on your product, man?
Well, never underestimate the power of passion. So if you're doing something that you love to do anyway, who cares if you're up 24 hours working your butt off to do something for somebody, because it's your gig. It's me. The only person I had to blame was me, and I was getting to spend 24 hours doing the thing I like to do.
Right.
That's a win. I like to create things. I like to make things that are practical. So, I mean, what's better if you whip out your wallet and there's something cool on it that you like? It's, a work of art, and you on the front of some logo or design or a memory from your military service that makes you happy, because that's a big component of what I like to do. I like to create stuff that makes people happy. whatever that means to them. It brings some value to them. So they look at it and they're just happy, or pleased, or whatever version of that is. It's a positive thing. So, if you've ever looked at a beautiful piece of art or heard an awesome song that made you feel, right? What's better than be able to carry that piece of artwork around with you 24 hours a day, if it's a wallet or a bag or a belt that's got a cool thing on it. That's, to me, all awesome, because I'm creating a good feeling for them, a positivity.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where I come from, because it's my passion to create things.
Yeah.
The added benefit is I can create something that's A, useful to somebody, and B, makes them happy.
That's so good. So guys, if you guys are watching this, if you have any questions about what Donald does, any questions for him at all, go ahead and answer those below. Here shortly, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to actually answer those live with him and all that good stuff. But brother, I actually looked at one of the posts on your Facebook business page, and it had a kid. I think it was a kid that you created a custom-made personalized journal cover, hand leather made. And you shared that story on there around his face on when you handed that to him, because it's personal. It's like it's personalized to him. He can't find that in a Target shelf. He can't find that in a Walmart shelf. That's his own unique journal. And just the face, and I'm getting goosebumps right now, man. But it's just
that's what I want.
That's the passion. That's the uniqueness of what you do, brother. And I know you work your ass off for what you do, man. So thank you for what you're doing. So I would ask you, man, you say attention to detail with creating your stuff, right? What separates you from other leather makers out there, other leather products out there, would you say, with Dodson Design?
Well, you can't do that craft without having some degree of attention to detail. Otherwise, the thing would fall apart.
Right.
But my attention to detail, everything is made by hand. So I sew everything by hand. I don't use a machine. So you're already every stitch. I see every stitch, actually twice, because of the way I stitch it. So I see all those things. So every little bit is like my nose is there. So you see that. Like sometimes I'm actually straightening a little stitch. The string's not quite the way I want it to be. And I learned a lot of that from the military, that attention to detail, that there's a certain way to do it. And part of that just comes from, there's a right way in terms of just how things look, but artistically as well. And that's really where I think my benefit, the thing I really excel in. And there are tons of talented leather workers out there. And some are very much of the style I am, which is it's a piece of art. So that's where I really bring my strength is it's handmade. I pay attention to those details, and there's a lot of creativity when I tool the leather or how I make it, the colors I use in the leather, how I dye it. All of those things can affect how it looks and how people feel when they see it. So that's part of. I think that's a big part of it. That quality of just making sure everything is perfect. You can half-ass stuff, but then you're not going to have the same quality.
Yep. Yeah, brother. And I can speak for Donald firsthand on how much time and effort he puts into that. I know that over Christmas, Santa Claus coming to town, Veteranpreneur Tribe, you had a lot of demand there, and you pretty much hit all those deadlines. I know you're a deadline driven guy, but guys, his products are extremely affordable right now, and they're not going to be, I promise you, very shortly, because there are a lot of people getting to know more of Dodson Designs kind of quality leather that he's creating. And guys, if you guys are looking for any product, what kind of products do you make right now, Donald?
I can make almost anything. I stay away from holsters because there's lots of people that do holsters, and I honestly haven't made one yet. So my big emphasis is on bags, messenger bags, and things like that, because there's a lot of room in order to sort of personalize them and how they're constructed, the pockets they have, because I customize everything from scratch. So, the colors that they want. So that's it. I do business card wallets with their logos on. If you're into into cosplay or role playing, I make all kinds of stuff for that. So if you want a suit of leather armor, I can make you one.
Hoorah.
Journal covers, pouches for the multi-tools, things like that. Lots of possible options. I can basically make anything. It's just certain things if I know somebody wants to say a holster, there's other guys who do it better, because they've done it before. And I have no problem passing that on to other veterans who do similar things.
Right. Awesome, brother. Well, hey, man, how can people come and find out more about Dodson Design, or even place an order, kind of look more of what your inventory and what you could be able to create?
Well, the easiest way is my business Facebook page. So, the first part's the www.facebook, but it's Dr. Dodson, Dodson, designs, .com or depending on what you're on. So the same thing for Instagram. So that's a great way to see a lot of my work. And I will have a website up soon. So, and that's just Dodson-designs.com. So
perfect. Awesome. And just for the community that's going to see this, or seeing it now and will be seeing in the future, what's one thing that they could do for you to kind of help you get Dodson Designs to the next level?
Really just if you see something that you like, ask. If you know people that might like it, just share. I mean, it's such a powerful thing to share other people's work, because it just quadruples that reach. And you're helping out a person who is I'm a small business. It's just me, handcrafted. I'm not some big corporation, and then, you never know what's going to come back around. When you help other people out, that whole karma thing is true.
100%. It inspires the law of reciprocation, man. 100%. So I think actually having, a personalized touch like you before you're a big corporation, which I'm sure I don't know if that's your end goal, but I know you do enough quality work that it could be. I think that's actually a specialized niche in itself, because they get that personal touch from your specialization. So, brother, last thing before I let you go, man, is I want you to drop 1, 2, 3 golden grenades right now inside this tribe here that could allow them to get to that meaningful, high-performing, and passion-driven life a lot sooner out of the uniform. What would be 1 or 2, 3 golden grenades that you drop here?
Never underestimate the value of hard work. Okay. We all learned it in the military, but nobody died from working hard. Not really. Anyway, it's a work ethic that is never, ever not appreciated. But on the other hand, make sure you're working smarter too. Don't be, I'm a big work smarter, not harder kind of person, but you still got to work hard. If you want something, you need to put in the time. Be passionate about whatever you're doing. Even if it's stuff you don't want to be, try to at least create that attitude that you like what you're doing. That will make a huge difference. Attitude means everything. Invest in yourself. So if you invest in yourself and realize that you are worth it, then it comes through in how you are perceived by others. So if you value yourself, they will start to value you. As I mentioned before, I joined at the Warrior Council with no idea how I was going to come up with the money for it that month. Okay. Because I was investing in myself, and I knew that people would take me seriously because I was taking me seriously. All right. And it doesn't mean you have to be a stiff guy. It just means you have to value yourself.
Yeah. 100%. Hey man, there's nothing, I was about to yell preach, but before I do that, I'm actually just going to kind of give some shout outs for some engagement here, and then we'll go ahead and sign off. So you got Juan from actually Lendit, which actually is a company, a startup here in San Diego that's actually already won a couple awards, and is actually just a great company that has you rent personal items out to your general public or online that may be depreciating. For you to actually make an additional stream of passive income or residual income, you can rent out your personal items. Juan's actually commenting on here. 100% accurate. He said, beautiful business mantra. Aside from leather, any other medium you work with?
You name it.
You name it. You got it. Awesome.
I do a lot of steampunk stuff. So I do woodworking, devices, things like that. A lot of prop type stuff.
Nice. Awesome. And he says, I'll be placing an order when my current Velcro wallet allows. Awesome. And then we've all had one. Yeah. We both know Robert Garcia. He's actually in another state right now, about to go on appointment, but he actually made the time to drop in here.
That is awesome. Hey, Rob.
Great interview, man. Donald is going to be a legend in about a year. Unbelievable products. Big shout out from a heavy hitter, Robert Garcia. Eric Mitchell dropped in. Thanks for dropping in from Life Flip Media, big branding and media public affairs company that actually brands and does publicity work for Grunt Style and a few other major companies out there if you're looking for that.
Well, there you guys have it. There's episode number 4 with Donald Dodson. I hope you guys really enjoyed that as much as I did. It was an amazing interview, and truth be told, it was one of the probably the top 3 most viral Facebook Lives interviews that I've done since the start of this show. So really a lot of golden grenades, a lot of good feedback for this show. Now, guys, let me just tell you, that was a story from a 20-year journey from an Army reservist veteran who went from social studies teacher to living out his passion as a creator and one of the most sought-after leather handmakers in the military veteran space today. Guys, one of the biggest quotes I wrote down in this interview is when you're looking at your end goal, don't sacrifice your passion for safety. Guys, I think there's a lot of passion and wisdom inside of that quote that Donald said. So, guys, I want you to charge you guys from this interview and this next week to really ponder on what are the sacrifices that you're making for your passion right now. Because there's a lot of us that know exactly what we want, right? I'm one of them. I know exactly what I want. And there's sacrifices that I'm making that are kind of taken away from my passion, guys. I want you to look in your life. What can you cut away? Cut away from fat out of your life right now that you could just get into your passion a little bit more. Create those soft and hard skills, as Donald was saying, a little bit more every day. And get out there and talk to just a little bit more people. You get the hint, guys. Do a little bit more. And as you do a little bit more, you're going to go from warrior made to passion driven, guys. With that being said, get out there and implement just one golden grenade, guys. That's how you create results. That's how you become a top performing veteran out there in the industry, guys. And before I let you guys go, I just want to let you guys know, look, we just announced an ambitious giveaway inside our Tribe Veteran Empowerment Transition. We're giving over $2,000 worth of prizes inside the group from veteran-owned businesses. We have anywhere from real estate investment workshops and books that we have veterans giving away that shows you how to take your equity within your VA home loan and start your first step towards building wealth. We have another veteran that's going to be putting you actually in his raffle inside his Facebook group that has over $900 worth of prizes in it. Donald Dodson from this show has a leather handmade wallet he's giving away. I'm actually going to be giving away a 60-minute hour to power and execution giveaway that's normally around $100 for any person I work with. And there's a couple other prizes, guys. Just go to the Tribe. It's going to be the pinned post up top of Veteran Empowerment Transition if you guys want more details, guys. But here's the thing. Get out there, rate, review, and subscribe, and share this podcast, guys. We are a stand that every ambitious vet out there comes and hears what it actually takes to live that meaningful, fulfilling, and passion-driven life. Now let's go get it.